For all intents and purposes, free agency is over. But while teams are getting ready for the upcoming season, there are some really good players who remain unsigned and can contribute to a team. In this video, I'm going to give you some of my favorites and then offer some teams that should give those guys a shot. What's up, everybody? It's Troy. Like and subscribe. Turn on notification bells for some of the best NBA content you're going to find on YouTube. Here are some unsigned free agents that can help a team right now. And the first player is Harry Giles. He most recently played with the Portland Trail Blazers. Giles is still just 23 years old, yet the versatile forward center hasn't been able to find a permanent landing spot in the NBA. He's shown glimpses of promise as a player who has nearly averaged a double-double per 36 minutes throughout his 3-year NBA career. But without a designated position and role, Giles has struggled to fit in, failing to carve out a role for the Sacramento Kings when he came into the league, and most recently with the Trail Blazers. It's easy to forget that Giles was the #2 player in the nation coming out of high school. And history shows those types of players usually turn into something in the NBA. And even though he's yet to find a consistent role, his athleticism, versatility, and passing upside remains intriguing. The Celtics are an interesting fit because of his tight relationship with Jason Tatum, along with their need for some depth in the front court. The Warriors are an interesting fit too. Giles could be a third big man behind James Wiseman and Kevon Looney. He would be another young piece for the Warriors' future. I also think Charlotte is still trying to figure out their front court rotation. Maybe they could give him a look. Next up is Paul Millsap, most recently with the Denver Nuggets. I think his NBA career may be hanging on by a thread, but still the 35-year-old forward is available for someone and should find himself on a contender before training camp. Millsap has been a solid contributor throughout his entire NBA career, and his veteran presence would be invaluable for any team looking to take a leap as a potential contender. Millsap is still a solid defender that can guard multiple positions as well as a capable scorer, whether it's around the basket or from three-point range. And yeah, he may be a few years removed from his peak where he was a 4-time All-Star, but Millsap is still highly productive. Last year with the Nuggets, he posted 9 points, almost 5 rebounds, and only 20 minutes per game. This guy is a textbook NBA veteran in every sense of the word. I think every contender who needs size would be interested in Millsap, and how could you not expect the Warriors, Heat, or Clippers not to be in the discussion for his services? He's going to be a good get for any team that's able to snag him. Next up, you have Frank NtilikIna, who spent his entire career with the Knicks, but I think that is coming to an end. And he's in a complicated situation. Since being drafted with the #8 overall pick, he's averaged about 5.5 points and 3 assists per game. And he barely played last season, averaging less than 10 minutes per game. But here's where it gets interesting. His three-point percentage climbed from 28% in his second year to almost 50% most recently. And to top it off, he defends like a man possessed. He should be given an opportunity by anybody willing to rebuild him as a 3-and-D wing instead of a point guard, which is what the Knicks tried to make him to be. If Frankie Smokes can hit a respectable three-point percentage, he could hang around the league for a long time. And I think for now, any team who takes a flyer on him would get a low-risk, high-reward player. I think the Raptors make a lot of sense. Adding a younger guard with plenty of room to grow would be a smart move. He's close in age to OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, and Scotty Barnes. He would be able to grow with that young core, and Toronto's renowned player development program could get the most out of the young guard. I like the Spurs too. NtilikIna would be a player who would defend hard and bring switchability to the floor. And what about the Trail Blazers? The only guards they have on their team behind Dame and CJ are Anthony Simons and Ben McLemore. I actually like Frank NtilikIna better than either of those players. Next up, we got to talk about Demarcus Cousins. Significant injuries have led to Boogie bouncing around the league from team to team. He's played for 4 different franchises in the past 3 seasons. At this point in his career, he's trying to make an impact off the bench for a team in need of a big man. He had a solid showing in the playoffs with the Clippers, scoring double figures in 3 of the 7 games that he appeared in. So I think there's still a little something left in the tank for Cousins. I think he needs to go to a team where he can get some good minutes and prove he's still NBA material. I like him as a backup for the Timberwolves behind Karl-Anthony Towns. I like him on the Mavericks, or I really like him on the Cavaliers too. And speaking of big men, we've got Bismack BIYOMBO, a veteran who can give you some solid minutes at backup center and also be a strong locker room presence. BIYOMBO was called one of the most knowledgeable players for the Charlotte Hornets last year. He brought rebounding, rim protection, and an overall defensive mindset throughout the course of the season and his career in Charlotte. I see him fitting in on a contending team or a rebuilding team that needs his leadership. I think the Utah Jazz makes some sense as a backup for Rudy Gobert. You'd still have that defensive mindset when Rudy takes a seat on the bench. He'd also be a nice mentor for their young big man, Udoka Azubuike. And how about the Chicago Bulls? They've got the scoring covered with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Nikola Vucevic will be the starter, and you have two young pieces in Tony Bradley and Marko Simonovic backing him up. I think BIYOMBO could be a mentor for all of them. The Oklahoma City Thunder makes some sense to me as well. Right now, they have Derek Favors and a bunch of young guys at the center spot. I think BIYOMBO would be a guy to set the defensive tone in Oklahoma City. Next up is JJ Redick, who played a handful of games with the Mavericks last year after getting traded from the New Orleans Pelicans. I don't see Redick's NBA career ending this way as an unsigned free agent. Yeah, he's getting up there in age, but any team who signs him would get a veteran presence and a guy who can still shoot the cover off the ball. I think his numbers from last year are a bit misleading since he was recovering from injury for much of the season. He never really got his footing once he was traded to the Mavericks, and then the situation he was in with New Orleans was not a good fit for Redick. Even if a team signs him to play only 15 minutes a night, Redick is going to offer some valuable floor spacing. And I think teams like the Brooklyn Nets, Philadelphia 76ers, or Lakers would be prime candidates to sign him. There could be others, but I think those three spots are where he would thrive the most. And finally, we've got Avery Bradley, who split time with the Miami Heat and Houston Rockets last year. The two-time NBA All-Defense guard still has something left, so don't let a disappointing season in 2020-2021 fool you. Injuries limited him to only 10 games with the Miami Heat before he was traded in the Victor Oladipo trade. Houston never really worked out for him either, but he should still find himself in the league because of his defense. And if his shot falls, then you're getting a really good player. I think he's tailor-made to go to the Brooklyn Nets. I don't hate him as a backup guard on the Wizards either. That's a team that needs defense and would have some minutes at the guard spots for him. And I think the Clippers make some sense, especially after trimming their backcourt of Rajon Rondo and Patrick Beverley. That's what I think, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you've enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for some of the best NBA content on YouTube. Thanks for watching. This is Troy with the Half Court Report, and I'll see you next time.